Remember growing up, our elementary school didn't like it when you stayed for lunch. They would really strongly urge parents that if your kid can go home for lunch, then let him go home. It's a supervision thing, kind of. And I was maybe a 10-minute bike ride. And so every day at lunch hour, I'd get on my bike and I would boot back and I would, grab a quick bite to eat for lunch. And then I would boot back as fast as I could back to school because my friends, during lunch hour, they would stay there for lunch and they would conjure up the teams, right? They would pick all the teams of what's going to happen at lunch hours, basketball game or soccer game or baseball game or something. And then as soon as the bell rang, boom, they would go out, take the field, and they would start to play. And so people like me who didn't stay weren't included in the team. And so by the time I got back, they had already started. And what's the famous line that everybody would use every time? It probably happened in your day too. Sorry, dude, no more joiners. And every lunch hour I'd have to sit there, and you've gone so fast that maybe this is the day I get back in time and you didn't, and now you've got the entire lunch hour. Could have stayed at home and watched cartoons or something. Now I've got the whole lunch hour to sit and to wallow, to watch them do stuff, to not be able to play, to wallow in my broken heart of rejection, of not measuring up, of not living up to their standard of things and their desires of when it's got to start and all the rules, and just very frustrated that I could never measure up to what needed to take place at that moment for them to accept or include me in the game. It didn't last long, but for those little while, that was hard to swallow. And I say that because I really believe that even today in real life, people still live under the guilt and shame and condemnation of their regrets, of their past, of not measuring up, of not living up to some standard that they believe we got to shoot for. And so, because they have this disdain to everything, this regret, this shame and guilt, the two things will often happen. One, we'll just reject God, right? A holy and pure God we know has this standard, we know desires certain things, and I can't live up to it, and so I'm out of here, and I don't do this anymore, and that's why we don't go to church, because I'm not good enough. And this is why I don't follow God, because I'm not good enough. Or we'll take the other side of the approach and we'll say, then I'll just work harder. I'll do more and I'll serve better and I can be a better Christian. I can do this. And we white knuckle it, right? We just fight for it and hopefully earn God's acceptance, approval. And that's why I love the story that we looked at this past Sunday. The Christmas account of God showing up in the angel Gabriel to Mary, saying, Mary, you're going to give birth to a child and he's going to be great and he's going to have the name Jesus. He's going to be the Son of the Most High God and salvation is going to come through this baby, right? This person that you are going to give birth to. And it's got nothing to do with her resume. It's got nothing to do with her character. It's got nothing to do with if she showed up on time to play the game, right? It's got everything to do with God, because the Bible's so clear. God has shown favor upon Mary. God's making this happen. God's going to take a virgin and make sure that she is pregnant and give birth to the Son of God, right? God's doing this because he's showing favor upon Mary. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, there's a real cool line that Paul shared. We didn't talk about it on Sunday, but he says this. He says, I tell you, now is the time of God's favor. Now is the day of salvation. See, God has shown favor to you and I. God is not waiting for us to have a good resume or a good, to approve us or to include us or good enough character, good enough moral kind of thinking and attitude that maybe I'll accept him in or bring her into salvation. God's already made that happen. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. God has shown us favor already. He has given us the gift. He has given us through his grace the opportunity to be saved from our sin. He has given us eternal life, hope that the day we take our last breath, we're ushered into eternity with Christ in heaven. And then we have this forgiveness for life today, that we can know the power of a new nature, to walk in the light of Jesus Christ in this life today. And it's got nothing to do with what we bring to the table to receive. It's got everything to do with the gift of God, showing favor upon us, gifting us with salvation just because. Because God so loved us that he gave us his one only Son, Jesus Christ. I share this truth because I just so long for us all to know that, so that we don't fall into the trap of working harder and gaining God's approval, working more and more and trying harder and harder so somehow God will include us. That's not how it works. God's not trying to keep a record of wrongs and records of rights and some kind of scorecard or a report card of our attitudes and thinking. God longs for us just to realize what he has gifted us, what he has done for us, and the favor shown upon us, and to receive it and to live in the truth of it. I pray this Christmas we will know that. We will live not with the pressure of earning God's salvation, but the joy of receiving it and embracing God's favor on our life. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here this past Sunday. And I pray that you'll be able to be there this weekend. We've got a great Sunday planned, and we've got a great Christmas Eve service, candles and kids feature, and the chance to gift you this Christmas as we normally do. 6:30 Christmas Eve service. Hope that you can make it out. God bless. Have a great week.